and in the entrance hall of Town Hall, all pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. May we stand please for a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And also if we can stand for a moment of silence to honor the military who have been wounded or killed in action, and I'd ask for an extra moment for Senator Palayer, who did so much for Monmouth County. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ackerson?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Noise.
Mrs. DiMosa?
Here.
Mr. Cassiano? Mayor Hines? Mr. King?
Here.
Mrs. Mountain?
Here.
Mr. Reyna?
Here.
Mr. Solofra?
Here.
Mr. Gordon? Dr. Wasser?
Have a quorum. Okay, agenda item 1, Cross Farm Park improvements, capital review. Construction of 2 artificial turf, combination soccer lacrosse fields, resurfacing of the existing gravel parking lot in the center section of the park, and construction of a new gravel lot for overflow parking. Jen? Ed? Okay.
The purpose of this presentation tonight is for capital review, which is required when a municipal entity does a capital project. It's presented to the planning board, to see if the planning board has any comments or recommendations.
We can't see it over here. Maybe is it possible we could stick it? Perfect.
Jen, if you want to see it, maybe you want to sit over there.
Yeah, but I've already seen it 11 times.
Okay. This is the same drawing that should be in your package, it's just a bigger version. So, the project starts on Willowbrook Road. This is Willowbrook Road, Walbridge Road, 5-1. At the present time, there are 2 baseball fields off of Willowbrook Road. There's a small gravel parking lot. In this area, we're going to construct 2 artificial turf combination soccer lacrosse fields. The purpose of the field is to increase the duration of play during bad weather conditions. These fields recover very quickly from bad weather. They're essentially all-weather fields. We're going to construct a new parking lot and driveway that'll be between the new fields and the baseball fields. The parking lot will be about 125 spaces. It will be gravel, although we are taking an alternate bid to have it paved so it's more efficient. It'll provide parking for the baseball fields and parking for the new turf fields. If you haven't received the complaints or heard them, although this looks relatively close on this map, this is a pretty long walk from the parking lot here down here, so we really needed to get some parking down in this area. There are walkways, there is extensive landscaping. We're going to extend this tree line. This is a fairly tall tree line, 70 to 90-foot trees. We're going to extend that so that we make sure that this complex is screened from the road. This is landscape buffer all the way along Willowbrook Road and along Longbridge Road. Much the same, not exactly the same, but the objective is the same, is to isolate the park from the road system.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, these things get installed initially with smaller plants, but over a period of 10, 15 years, like we have here, we have a pretty good buffer. We are taking an alternate bid for a gazebo in this area, shaded area, so that people can get out of the sun or get out of the rain that should come. There is a location for a future building here. The building, if it ever is done, is going to be a relatively small restroom building. In the interim, we're going to have porta-johns here.
Mm-hmm.
There is no intent to have a large building here. If you're not familiar with this, this is what we call the Great Lawn, is an area for informal play, and these are all athletic fields. The other portion of the program deals with the parking in this area. The existing large parking lot is paved a long time ago. There is an extension to that parking lot that is curved and has drainage that is gravel. It's going to be paved. And a new overflow parking lot is going to be extended in this direction. It will be gravel. And there will be an emergency access to the park road here. It will not be open all the time. That's the overview. The system, the whole system, the drainage system, the layout is designed to protect the environment. We are required to stay 300 feet off of this stream bank here. This is a Class 1 waterway. We meet that criteria. Underneath these fields is a fairly large section of gravel open stone that collects the water and releases the water slowly. The parking lots flow into a gravel trench and retain water and release it slowly so that the water is filtered and the downstream impacts are minimal. There are 3 alternate bids being taken in this contract. There is an alternate bid being taken for lights for the fields. There is an alternate bid being taken for the paving of this parking lot, and an alternate bid being taken for the gazebo. There are some little things that I didn't mention. The walkway system around the entire park. This whole area will be extended in much the same fashion as it is today. If you haven't been down in the park earlier in the morning, a lot of people use the park for walking and exercise, and we're going to continue that. There is a bond ordinance hearing on September 6th, second reading of the ordinance. If that passes, the project would go to bid sometime in the fall.
What happened to the other, where was is that gray area now, the old parking, makeshift parking?
The old parking lot is going to stay.
Oh, okay.
We're going to move the driveway over a little bit, and instead of coming in off Willowbrook Road, it's going to come in off the new driveway. There was really no sense in us removing that because it exists. It's a small fenced area, probably takes, I don't know, I'm going to guess 30, 40 cars. And we'll use that for overflow parking. But that'll be screened too. There'll be shade trees along the driveway, and there's screening all along here.
Excellent. Okay. All right.
Yes, Brian?
Is that screening towards the western portion?
I forgot about that. Yes, it is. The purpose of this screening is this is the recycling center here, where we recycle our leaves. So there's large mounds of leaves that are windrow that dry out and they turn. And it's really not compatible with the park, with the recreational uses in the park. So we're going to add screening in here to block that and isolate that from the rest of the park.
Okay.
You mentioned the emergency access to the new lot that will be in the back, that will hook up to the
Yes.
existing road that's back there?
Yes.
For the entrance off of Old Hill?
Yes.
Okay.
So that could be used by emergency vehicles or an emergency situation. I didn't mention it, now that you mentioned emergencies. The part of the walkway system to the center of these fields is wide enough for ambulance.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Hopefully never needed, but it's there if we do. The parking lot will be lighted with the same lights that are in the parking lot now. If you haven't seen them, they're an LED low-mounted downlight that's intended to protect the kids when they get back to their cars. So it's very unobtrusive. And that's the intent of this whole thing, to be, an excellent use for the kids and whoever else uses it, but not to be unobtrusive to the neighborhood.
Any other questions?
The separate lighting bid, what is that for, the lights in the parking lot or the fields?
The lights in the parking lot are in the base bid.
Right.
The lights for the fields are an alternate bid. Right. They consist of six poles. Also LED lighting, state-of-the-art lighting. Probably never seen anything like it now. It's very controlled lighting.
And that came out of, that wasn't in the original plan, that came out of an addition at the last Township Committee meeting.
They were quite, I'm guessing, but there were probably 100 people here at the
Absolutely.
meetings we had. And there were some people against the park for sure, but there were a lot of people who wanted lighting so that it could be used early in the evening.
So the Township Committee asked for the alternate bid at the last meeting.
That's correct.
How similar is this to the original Cross Farm Master Plan?
It's only similar in one respect. The original Cross Farm Master Plan had facilities actually further down and had a lighted roller hockey rink. At the time, roller hockey was a big thing. There were a couple of lighted basketball courts here. And there was a pinwheel baseball field here.
Right.
But that's changed. The demand for different recreational uses is changing. You know, we've gone from tennis to different, it just changes over the years. And the demand now is for soccer and most recently for lacrosse, where actually the Homdel's been pretty successful in a
Yes, very much.
relatively short period of time. I don't know if I mentioned, these are combination fields. So they can be used for soccer, they can be used, they're big enough actually to be used to practice soccer across the field. So 4 teams can practice here, 2 teams can play. And then they're set up for both men's and women's lacrosse.
Just missing your playground in the middle.
Excuse me?
Your playground in the middle. Remember you wanted the playground, and you didn't use your great lawn comment
I know.
since
But it's there.
2003. Been
We
talking
are, by
about the
the
great
way,
lawn. We're getting there.
not associated with this project, but we do have a county grant to put a playground up by the other building, which we need.
Yes.
So going back to the lights, how tall would those lights be?
80 feet.
And the hours of operation in terms of lighting?
Not determined, but it's not going to be late. There were a lot of comments about that.
Is there an ordinance in town about noise?
Yes, there is.
What does that run to?
I don't know.
I think it's 10 o'clock, and then I think on Sunday it's less.
But it's for parties and, no, I think it's 11 o'clock, and it's like parties, and that's not soccer noise or baseball noise. And right now, those lights, there are lights there now on the other smaller soccer fields, portable lights, and they are off by 9:30. That's, I think.
I didn't mention that. The fields are already lighted. Not these. The other fields are lighted with portable construction lighting with generators. I don't know whether they're gas or diesel powered. And it's really very inefficient lighting because they're low and they do have an impact on the neighborhood.
And noisy as well, right?
And noise as well. The closest home here is about 1,500 feet, and in the sight line here, about 500 feet of woods in between. In that sight line, these trees are 70 to 90 feet. The closest house here is 1,400 feet. There's 500 feet of woods in between. The closest house on Mill Road, believe it or not, is 2,700 feet, a half mile. And actually, the houses over here on 520 are actually closer, but they're 2,500 feet, just about a half mile from way down here.
The way the crow flies, that 2,500?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay. Any other questions?
We're good?
Yep. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Item number 2, draft Monmouth County Planning Board Master Plan. This document represents the third complete comprehensive master plan for Monmouth County since the inception of the Monmouth County Planning Board in 1954. It is the successor to the Monmouth County Growth Management Guide in 1982, and prior to that, the Monmouth County General Development Plan of 1969. The public hearing on this document will be held by the Monmouth County Planning Board on September 19th, 2016, and comments will be accepted through Friday, September 16th. Jen.
Good evening. So I went through the draft county plan, and as you guys probably know, when we did the master plan here in town, it was pretty comprehensive, and it took probably, a year, I would say. The latest re-examination report that we did. Prior to that, it was even more of a comprehensive planning initiative. So it's important to note that this process started 3 years ago in 2013, and there's been the Monmouth County Planning Board has been working with key stakeholders throughout the county to put an updated county plan together. It's been a while since you've had an updated plan. It is broader than our master plan is here. Obviously, it has to take into consideration the county as a whole. It identifies goals and objectives similar to the local master plan documents, but the document itself is not, obviously doesn't focus specifically on Homdel. It focuses on all the towns in the county and is pretty global in nature. It does reference Homdel in a number of areas, and basically the process is if we had any issues or comments, we should send them on behalf of the Township Planning Board to the county. Those comments, I think, can be received up to the 13th? 16th. Oh, because the hearing's the 19th.
Right. 19th at 2 o'clock at the Hall of Records.
So we went through it, and there's a couple of areas where Homdel is specifically cited. The first is when, let me just tell you what areas, let me go back. Let me tell you what areas they looked at. Land use, natural resources, open space, farmland preservation, arts, historic and cultural resources, utilities, transportation, agriculture and economic development, community development and housing, healthy communities, community resiliency, sustainable places, and outreach and coordination. So we were not referenced in every section because some of them just don't pertain to us. But the first area where we were mentioned was in the under historic land use analysis. So it was in the land use portion of the plan, and it talks specifically about Lucent as being the redevelopment of Lucent is ongoing, and the county feels that it will have major positive impacts to Homdel and the county once completed, which I think is pretty consistent with how the township feels about that process that is ongoing. Secondly, in the open space and recreational lands inventory, it does an inventory of the park system here in the county. Homdel Park is called out. It actually was the most visited park in the county with 1.2 million visits in 2015. It's about 575 acres. It has an arboretum, fishing, some sports courts, ice skating, sledding, and trails. And the comment specifically about the park is that it continues to provide essential recreational opportunities for the county and the citizens of Homdel, which provide positive impacts to the township. It also calls out the Longstreet Farm property, which I guess is part of Homdel Park, as being, of historic significance. That's a 9-acre piece of property. In keeping with the open space, it talks about, Cross Farm Park, which received a grant of $137,000 from the Open Space Grant Program, and obviously we're seeing some of these improvements that are part of that grant program in the capital review that you just went through. So it's really just kind of reporting that it is a strategic park in the park system, and it has received funding to provide additional recreational opportunities. Moving forward to farmland preservation, obviously Homdel participates in the farmland preservation program that's offered at the state and administered through the county. The county's farmland preservation program had an enabling resolution which discussed that there's a continuing loss of farms and high-yield farmlands, and it's of great concern to the county. As of December 2015, there were 14,890 acres of preserved farmland in the county and 204 agricultural easements. This represents 38% of the remaining 38,961 acres of Monmouth County farmland reported by the 2012 Census of Agriculture, and 37% of the 40,000 farmland assessed acres in the county. The comment regarding Homdel has increased its preserved farmland by 138 acres from 2007 until the end of 2015. As Homdel willingly participates in the program and believes it provides the township with numerous benefits, this increase is seen as a positive impact on the town and the county. In addition, under agricultural and economic development, there is a recommendation to incorporate Monmouth County Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which is a 2014 initiative, as a component of the agriculture and economic development element of the plan, recognizing the Economic Development Strategy Initiative as the county's economic development plan moving forward. And basically, where we're cited in that is specific to the redevelopment of, they call it the Bell Works property, I guess the name that they're going by today. Tomorrow may be different, but it talks about the benefit of the redevelopment of that property and how it will continue to be, bring back the economic viability of the area and provide positive economic benefits to the town and the county. And then lastly, under the Sustainable New Jersey, Homdel has been designated as a bronze sustainable Jersey community. It has a positive impact on the town in terms of sustainability. Increased opportunities for additional grant funding to increase sustainability would be available, and it's a positive benefit to the overall public welfare. So those are really the sections specific to Homdel that we pulled out. We feel that the document, in itself has very positive comments specific to Homdel. There was a comment that I received that some of the data used in the analysis, particularly for some of the natural resources, is outdated. I'd be more than happy to send a comment, requesting that the data be as current as possible with respect to, given the fact that this has been going for 3 years, I suspect that there has been, numerous current information volumes reviewed, but it's just comment that we've heard from the public and something that we'd be more than happy to pass on if the board so saw fit. But other than that, unless any of you guys have specific questions, I feel, it is a pretty global document. The public hearing, as said, will be in about a month's time at the county. And, it's nice to see, the initiative finally come to fruition. It's been a lot of work from a lot of people, so.
And they've had a lot of open houses and a lot of stakeholders.
If you go through the document, the list of stakeholders for each individual element it's substantial. It's not 1 or 2 stakeholders, it's dozens and dozens of stakeholders. This entire volume really is a lot of the background, the appendices, and the justification for some of the recommendations. But, even just the front cover has, at least 50 stakeholders listed that, were participants in varying elements. So it's been a pretty comprehensive undertaking. It's not an easy undertaking. It was hard enough for us to do it just for here. To do that for the entire county when you have such diverse communities is pretty significant.
Any questions? So that will be September 19th, 2 o'clock, over records and tax. Thank you, Jen.
No problem.
Can I just go back to item 1 for 1 second?
Sure.
We're supposed to send recommendations, or they have to wait 45 days. So should we just say that we recommend the cross farming?
Say that we have no comment on the plan and we agree with, we like the way it was presented. Is that okay with everybody? We like the way it was presented and we're okay moving forward with it. Okay. That's very to that effect. Fine. Okay. Okay. Engineers report, no, okay. Planners report.
I just have one comment and that I'd like your approval for.
Cedar Village.
I'm having like a mental block on this development. So the representative of the Homeowners Association from Cedar Village came into the TRC last Thursday. Several years ago, a couple of residents from the community came before this board requesting approval to put up awnings on the buildings. At that time, the board, had identified colors, specifications, material choices, the shape of the awnings, and when the resolution was memorialized, the contractor's name was included in the resolution. At this point in time, they can't find this person, and they'd like to have the ability to, maybe get some competitive pricing. So they've requested simply that the board relieve them of the condition for that specific contractor. Everything else will stay the same, the materials, the size, everything. It's just the actual individual's name they would like relief from.
I have to tell you, I sat on, you guys probably have too. I mean, it was a long drawn out process and that probably just got in there by accident, I would say. The contractor's name is just, because that's you know, what they got the material from.
Right.
So I don't have a problem removing the contract. You need a motion?
Yes, please.
So I'll need a motion to allow for the condition to be,
Yes.
okay.
Second.
Okay. Who was it?
Kim?
They were fighting over it over there.
Mr. Ackerston?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Lemountain?
Yes.
Mr. Reyna?
Yes.
Mr. Solofra?
Yes.
Mrs. DiMosa?
Yes.
And if it's okay with the board, what I'll do is I'll draft a letter for the file to Bonnie's attention. You know, obviously she's here, so she knows, but just so that the file remains complete, so that when they come in, when the individuals come in to pull permits for the awnings, you know, it's in there and everybody is aware that you're aware of it and you've
really
approved
okay.
the removal. Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised it didn't get caught then. I don't think we would have included the contractor's name.
I think they just came in with this from these people.
Right, and it just got included by us.
Took it, yeah.
Okay, county report? No? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? No public comment at the planning board. When there's no item on the agenda. Thank you.
It was on the agenda.
Hmm?
Item 1 was on the agenda.
It's a
No.
capital review, it's not an application.
Only on
Wasn't here.
hearings, is there comments?
Well, I spoke to Ed, I'm just trying to get an electronic copy of the information he provided here. Ed said he'd be happy to do it if directed by the town. So if you,
I'm not the town.
well,
He told her to talk to Maureen, him to talk to.
and Maureen's gonna come back and say she's gonna need something from somebody
But
else.
Yeah, but not this
It's not
board. That would be the township committee.
It's not, I'm appointed by them. We are appointed by them. You need to talk to them.
Yeah, no,
Oops.
All right, let me get out of your way.
Hope it's not in there. We got a lot of people.
I'll be at.
Go there.
Oh, we don't have all these things.